first question is we'll just have you say and spell your first and last name. Tell us your new title.
Sure. Amanda Zimmerlin, Amanda Zimmerlin, and I'm the city manager.
All right, and just to start, you said you've been here for 8 days. I
8
want to know how
days.
these 8 days have been for you.
The first 8 days have been a whirlwind, but they've been very enjoyable. I've discovered that the staff here is absolutely amazing, which is great, and all our residents are too. I had the opportunity to meet quite a few people through the interview process, and I was pleasantly surprised at the number of people who want to be engaged in the community.
And just, I also want to know, what are you most excited about taking over as city manager?
It's a learning opportunity, the ability to come in and work with a new group of people to help move the city forward.
What drew you to this job when you were applying for it?
Oh, that's a great question. It's twofold. One, I was looking for personal career advancement, of course, and the other is just the path that Battle Creek is on right now. I think that there is a lot of potential for really great growth and the ability to really expand what the city's able to do.
All right. What are some of the goals that are most important to you in maintaining and improving Battle Creek?
Sure. The things that have kind of bubbled to the top here in my first 8 days really come down to housing, that people need an option for housing here in town, and then also childcare is another that has come up. So I think that, working again with staff and with our community partners, we'll be able to tackle those issues.
Yeah, tell me about those issues surrounding childcare. I know homelessness was one that I'll get into, but what have some of the discussions and conversations been surrounding that?
So the discussions that I've had so far here at the city with staff has basically been that people need to be able to have childcare, to be able to work, to be able to help grow the city. And that affordable childcare, just like everywhere else, it's not just exclusive to Battle Creek, is a real hurdle that some people need to overcome. I mean, I remember the days when my children were small and, trying to find someone to be able to care for them that I trusted was a big issue. And, I was lucky enough that it didn't hinder my ability to go into the workforce, but there are some that does. And I think that that's one of those issues that we're going to have to tackle.
And it's, like you say, it's not a specific issue to Battle Creek. Are there any specific solutions that pertain to Battle Creek? Or are those still conversations?
Those are still conversations that we're having. I know that the city is making some investments into the Valentine Center and that there will be child care going into that space, but that's still in its infancy.
Yeah, and Battle Creek has seen a lot of business development over the past few years. What have you noticed about that growth, and how do you hope to maintain it, continue it?
I think our continued partnership with Battle Creek Unlimited. I was very impressed when I was coming up for the interview process, and then now with my opportunity to actually meet with that group, their ability to really hone in and see what the city is lacking as far as economic development. I also think that we have the ability to maybe pour a little more into our local mom and pop shops to kind of diversify our portfolio.
And the Blue Oval Park in Marshall is also something that is expected to create thousands of jobs, and there's a good portion of those people are likely going to be looking for places to live over here in Battle Creek as well. So how do you anticipate the development of the park improving the vitality of Battle Creek, and is that something that growth might possibly need to be curtailed at some point as well?
Can I ask you, what do you mean by curtailed? Like, are you saying that maybe we need to put a pin in it, or
if it's if it grows to a certain amount, how do you plan to sort of control that growth and address that sort of issue?
I got you. So I think that with any development, so the Blue Oval plant that's not technically in Battle Creek is good for the region. Yeah, it's good for the region in general, right? I mean, their success can equal our success. And the people who work there are going to be looking for places to live, and I think that it is an opportunity for the city of Battle Creek to be able to provide that opportunity for people. One of the things, if we're looking at smart, sustainable growth within our city, we did look at our master plan and what that lays out, because that's really the footwork and plan that the community has said to the leaders that, hey, this is how we want to grow. This is how we want to function as a city.
And I think, some of those conversations, as you said, it's only been 8 days, so this is obviously, a lot of things to begin to tackle, but what do those discussions look like right now, just within the first few days of taking over as the job? Because you might not want to go full scale day one. There's a lot to get into. What are the conversations, discussion, that dialogue look like just in the early stages?
So in the early stages here, the first 8 days, the conversations have been relatively high level. It's basically, let's just get everybody acclimated, let's see how we're going to function and work together. But I'm absolutely certain that as we continue, those conversations are going to become more in depth, and that we are going to really start tackling the things that need to be done.
And another important aspect of, I think, the business development, the economic vitality of Battle Creek is this sale of Kellogg to Ferrero that took place over the summer and is now, I believe, final. How do you anticipate that playing a factor in the economic growth of this area?
So with that sale, still it too, we're still learning things here at the city on what that means for Battle Creek. But I do think that there has been a commitment that it is going to continue to be a vital part of the community.
And getting into that issue with the homeless population in Battle Creek, it's long been a topic of discussion. Some of the shelters have been full. We've done stories about how shutting down one shelter and the intake of another has been a huge issue. But what have been some of the potential solutions been discussed? What have those discussions look like around addressing that issue?
So here in the first 8 days, we haven't had a lot of discussion. We haven't gotten into that. But there are opportunities, again, with the partnerships with the community members here in town. Like I said before, the number of people who are willing to help, the number of outside organizations and nonprofits that are willing to help is amazing in this community.
I think also, when you're interviewing for the job, you're going through that process, and you're getting a preemptive, I guess, idea of Battle Creek by doing that research or whatever it may be. What were some of the things that really stood out to you about this area and what you wanted to bring when you eventually would take that job?
I know I've said it many, many times here in this conversation, but again, it's the people, it's the resident. I know when we had our community meet and greet, when we were going through the process of hiring for this position, the number of people who showed up to that was incredibly impressive. I've been in other places where you just cannot get people to come in and be engaged, and we don't seem to have that issue here. We also have that great network of just outside nonprofit community partnerships that I think is just absolutely unique to this area. I don't know if it's all of Michigan or if it's just Battle Creek, but it really is a great network to have.
And then, as far as people go, what were those conversations during the meet and greet like? What did people come to you a lot with as far as issues that they want to see addressed?
Yeah.
And what do you tell them when they come to you with that?
Yeah. Well, actually, a lot of the questions and a lot of the things they talked about are exactly what we're talking about now. It was homelessness, child care, housing, those items, basically quality of life items that kept bubbling to the surface in the conversations. And, whenever you're looking at those, quality of life, those things, they can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And again, I think looking at the vision that we currently have moving forward with our master plan, and then just looking at our social networks is something that we're able to maybe address those.
And then I think just my last question here is, what should people know about what you want to do? Just your vision for Battle Creek now that you're in the position.
I want people to know that I truly believe that Battle Creek is a great place, and that if people want to live in Battle Creek, that they should have the opportunity to do so, and there should not be barriers that stop people from being able to at least have the opportunity to be here. And I sincerely hope that I'm able to achieve that, and I hope that I have a long tenure here and that we can see that across the finish line.
So now that you are in the position, what are some of the most immediate things you've been working on and addressing and discussing just in these first few days?
We've been looking at just basically the projects that are going on around the city. We're looking at the Lakeview District, the LDDA, looking at that funding source, working with the TAC to get that transition completed. There's just a lot of different projects going on.
All right, I think that was all the questions I had.
Okay.
Is there anything else we haven't touched on? Anything else you want to address before we?
Nope.
Awesome. Wonderful.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.